From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Hi, I'd like to welcome everybody to our latest Dominator with Dawson, with Ben Dawson. Do we have Ben Dawson in the house?
Well, let me tell you, it's really nice to be here. I'd like to thank you guys for having me. It's nice to be included, and it's nice to be thought of, especially in these trying times that we're all facing right now. Thank you so much, guys. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
So we're going to talk to Ben Dawson about his recipe for sweaty balls.
Okay.
The sweaty balls. Would you like my sweaty balls?
Yes, we have Alex. Alex, say hi.
Hey, everybody. Remember me from such movies as I Went Ahead and Rear-Ended You and Fine Corinthian Leather.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Big old full glass of scotch just broached his lips. Just pointing that out. It's a scene cue for everybody to understand what we're doing here.
This one's going downhill, and it's going down fast. It's a black diamond from here on. Anyway, Miss Vicky, you're here as well.
Hi, how are you?
What is up?
You're not helping to save me, but you're here. Thank you.
Yeah.
She's watching it happen.
On this latest Dominator Dawson, watch Bill try and herd these cats. Anyway, we have a topic for Dominating with Dawson. Dominating with Dawson, Dominating with Dawson. We want to know all about why does it matter who is in the top 10, specifically on a Sunday at an endurance race.
Right. Well, I think it matters in any kind of endurance event to know kind of who the top folks are. For the very first responsibility, it would be like, maybe if you're the guy who's in the lead, you would want to know that. I only say that because I've been that guy before and not known, because I've been running with these half-ass weirdos like Race Bar, where you're like, oh yeah, you were in the lead for so-and-so, but they never have like a radio, so you don't know. Another one, I was racing a CRX at CMP. These guys were pretty inexperienced, but they built a really fast car, so they asked me to drive it. And I didn't know. I kept smelling fuel and seeing the gas gauge go down about twice as fast as it should. And so I'm out there just driving along. I thought, like, I'm passing a lot of people. This is pretty cool. But also, I got to go in because I'm about to run out of gas like twice as quick as I should. And I pull in. The guy's like, what are you doing here? You're leading the race. So anyway, one important thing to know is if you are the leader, it's good to know that. So if you are one of the first 5 or 10 people, know that. So then you can do stuff with it. That's good knowledge to have.
Why would it matter if you had a radio in a race bar vehicle? Because you can't hear anything over the radio that they're playing the music.
That's true. Like, luckily, I get in there and I get them to, I am able to get them to shut the music off, but I can't get them to shut the disco ball off. That thing will scare the crap out of you about every 2 laps. Like, oh, what is that? And it's the disco ball in your mirror, like doing this. It's like a ghost.
Okay.
I must drive their car.
I need to. Guys are a blast.
I know. They're yeah, Baby Shark at 7 a.m. followed up by Motley Crue at New Hampshire 2019. Yeah. Hey, listen, I absolutely hated him for him, but it turned into a love story after that.
That's right.
I'm never even there for all that stuff. I'm usually just there during the hours of the race and maybe a little bit after. But I gotta say, the cars are even more fun than the patois that they bring to the racetrack.
Oh yeah. Now that you're bringing this up, I feel that we need to phone a friend and get a friend on this podcast now at this point.
Ron Mexico. We cannot get Ron Mexico in here.
No, we don't need that. No. You know who we need on this one? Laura Vernon. That's who needs to come on this. Yep.
I like her too much to invite her on with you here.
I want her to talk to me again next time I see her. Maybe let me drive one of her fast race cars. I think they were down at Road Atlanta trying to race their Acura or something, blew it all the way up.
The RSX. Oh, she told me the story of that. It was nuts. But she just picked up an NC chassis Miata, buddy. I know you want to race one. I know I do too. And I need to go down there and help her sort it.
Lips. Yeah. You get down there and keep our name fresh on her lips, big guy. But let's talk about why we want to know who's like in the top position.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Come on back to the conversation. Hello.
So it's important to know if you're in a competitive spot. It's important to know where you are. I guess like half the time when my team is doing that well, we don't know until we're out of that spot. But it's important to know where you fit in the field. But also more importantly, probably the reason why we're talking about it, since we're more focused on beginning drivers and racers, is you want to have an idea so you can, when you see them coming up in your rearview mirror, you be a decent chap or lady and give them some room to get by, because they're in a way more competitive situation than you are, and you're probably just out there kind of cruising around. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just a good track manners and good race traffic manners to give those folks some room to get through, because you're not competing in the same event that they are at that point when they're coming through to lap you. That's all I have to say.
Your hands up, Alex. We see you.
Okay. So now, hey, I'm trying to go ahead and hold back. I'm trying to go 6/10 here.
Okay.
But so now here's the thing though, and this is something this has been always a subject from day one of racing to even today. Especially if you find yourself in the situation where you are nowhere near a front runner and you're a mid to a late pack person, or you're just a beginner or whatnot. It's also the responsibility of the team owner to give you the heads up before you get into the car of who you need to watch out for or what cars you need to watch out for. And I notice this is more in rookie teams than it is in veteran teams or tip of the spear teams. But having that knowledge and knowing what cars are coming in there, it gives you more of a 360 degree of what's going on the track. And while give room to let them pass, on the side of, please just maintain your damn line. Do the same thing that you've been doing. I will work by you. And it's what that is. But I honestly believe having that knowledge of who's actually racing and who you're racing against, and the team owner letting you know before you get into the car, comms or no comms, because I've raced them both, and racing with no comms does suck and racing with comms does suck, but they're also both great. When I get thrown into a car and team owners ask me what I want to hear, I look at them like, listen, if we're being competitive, just tell me who's in front of me. I don't want to know how far ahead of me they are. I don't want to know what lap times are. I don't want to know who's behind me. I don't need to know that information. All I need to know is who's my next victim, and keep the line open if something happens in the car.
Okay, but I think the important thing that a lot of people don't recognize, especially as they're new in the racing, much like the people in the left-hand lane who decide how fast is fast enough, there's certain cars that you're racing, and there's other cars where you should just let them by. But you're not racing them.
Mm-hmm. But this is why I brought up.
Right.
This is why I brought up this is the owner of the car or the owner of the race team's responsibility to give the heads up to each and every one of his drivers, whether it's been someone that has raced with you from day one to someone who is just an arrive and drive and might be a beginner. There's a whole dynamic. There's a whole cloud around it, because coming into your first endurance race, did you know the top 10 fastest cars?
No, I tried to keep up with Black Betty in a 74 Capri. Do I need to give you any more data than that?
All right. Ben, your first ever endurance race. Did you know who the top 10 cars was?
I was driving the fastest car in the race, my very first endurance race. I was passing people in the grass. I was having to take two wheels off just not to hit people. I had the sympathy spin when I got into the closing rate was too much, and I had to do a sympathy spin not to hit somebody. So yeah, it was pretty cognizant of my place in the very first race.
All right, Vicky.
It's weird though. That's not usual. My
not
thing
normal.
Is not the usual thing.
No, it's not normal, but no, that's totally fine. Vicky, your first race. Did you know who the top 10 cars were?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
They all look the same to me.
and I bring this up because
has four wheels.
Yeah.
Just cars it was like driving on a highway. I didn't recognize any one of them.
And my first race, I had absolutely no idea at all who were the top 10, who weren't.
What would you have done differently if you did?
I would have freaking held my line better and not tried to go ahead and pass them.
You know what? We didn't even have the capability of figuring out how to determine what the top 10 were.
We didn't know what race monitor was.
No, we didn't even have a race monitor. We had nothing. But it really but you know what? On your first time out anyway, it doesn't really matter because everybody's passing you.
But
yeah,
your first time, I think it does matter your first time out, because your first time out, you're probably the least equipped to have the spatial awareness of who your competitors are. So you really need to know who's in front of you, or in position wise, speed wise, for the speed gap. And the really fast cars, you need to let them roll by and not hold them up, because bad things can happen, especially as your first race.
So how do you let someone by you that's in the top 10?
Personally,
Ooh.
I keep my line.
Mhm.
Depending on the car that I'm in, I may or may not give them a little lift, but usually not. Usually if I stay on my line and I'm driving just in a smooth, predictable level, driving my own race, they're really not in a race with me. And I just let them go by, and they choose to pass me where they want to pass me.
Ben, when you find yourself in the position of a car that does not have the get up and go and the pace to be a front runner, how do you let the front runners get by you?
I typically, one of the things that's part of this knowing who the top 5 or 10 conversation is that it's a kind of a self-resolving issue. As long as you're paying attention, you'll figure it out because you keep seeing it over and over again when they come up to lap you if you're in a slower vehicle. But one of the ways I let them by, because I mean, no matter where I'm driving, I'm not going to be a slouch in the corners, and they're going to have time to think about how they want to get around me. So typically, I'm going to be trying to let them go on the straightaway where they probably got a lot more power than me if they're that much faster catching up to me. So usually it's not a big thing. But I think the smart thing to do, at least for me, is I'm usually it's not going to be a standalone event, me letting them go by. Especially if I'm living right and racing lemons at Road Atlanta or something like that. I'm also passing somebody else out at turn 7, and I might be trying to let somebody pass me. You know what I mean? So I'm still going to try to keep the advantage to whatever I'm doing in traffic. And if it's convenient to me, I'll let them go by in a super friendly, nice way. If it's just part of a race traffic transaction, they're gonna have to figure it out while I do the thing I was already gonna do. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll be as polite as I can. If it's something I can handle as a standalone, I'll even do it with a point by like, hey, I want you to go over here because I want to be over here doing this. But I try to indicate where I want them to go if I've got all kinds of bandwidth and time to do it.
All right. So a curveball is going to come in a second, but first I want to know this, Vicky.
Yes.
When the top 10 are coming around you, how do you let them get by you?
I drive the line.
Easy and often.
I drive the line. I try not to get out of the way, but I try to be predictable, trying to determine as they're coming what they're doing. And then if I have an opportunity to box somebody in before they come by, I do that.
Okay. All right. So now here's the big curveball for you three. And Vicky, we're going to go ahead and
I got one more thing what I do.
Okay, go for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got one more thing. If I have an opportunity when they're all railing through and I can box somebody in, I'll do that. But then I try to follow the train out.
Yes.
Is what I do. I follow the train, and then what I do is I watch them and I follow them, watch what they're doing for as long as I can until they come back around again.
Okay. So here's the curveball. And this is the big curveball. And this is the reason why we're going to reverse this order. And Vicky, we're going to start with you. Because this actually pertains to pit race last year and at Thompson to an extent. So now you know who the top 10 are. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Your head's on a swivel. You know the cars by their front end, but you know them better by their rear end as they're going by you.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're battling for your class and you're in a race of your own.
Mm-hmm.
How does this pan out, or how does this play out for you to either not lose pace but make sure they get by you in a swift manner, or B, you're in the middle of your race, they can hold up? How do you go ahead and deal with this?
When they're coming around, I know that the people in front of them are going to be opening up. Basically, what I do is I try to follow them and try to make any gains that I can. Hold on, much like following an ambulance or a fire truck.
Okay.
And
But-
I because people are going to either start moving. Some people are just going to start moving out of the way for them, but they're going to open stuff up. And if I could just kind of stay in with them, I'll stay with them for as long as I can. And then, yeah, that's how I do it. But for my own race, I don't even know anybody in my own race.
Well, okay, but the reason why I asked this and the reason why I highlight pit race is I believe something that happened at pit race last year in Class C for Bill, you, and your team.
Yeah.
And you guys were in your own race in your own class. And I know for sure, 3 out of the 7 front runners, 3 out of the top 10 front runners were coming by you multiple times. And what did you do? The what? It's English is hard. We know English is hard for me. But no, what I'm trying to get at is no, not at all. What I'm saying is you're in your own race, and the top 10 cars were spread out to an extent. There was a 2-lap from first place to second place, but that doesn't matter. You knew who the top 10 were. But however, you were in your own race, in your own class, at your own speed, where you had the potential to win it, not even knowing you can win it. Had you known that you were in that spot, would it have been different for you with the top 10 coming by?
I still would have performed the same way. In that pit race, I was racing a truck, a second truck. And I was always trying to make gains besides anybody else's race. And I know you're not supposed to be racing another person, at some point you do, you race the track, but I was still, my whole point in that particular race was that I was truck hunting because it was a car that was easily able to recognize. And when that whole troop would come through, I would still make gains when that troop would come through. And if I could box people off, I would box people off, just strategically. But I was more focused on the track than I was on my time, but I just knew that I was trying to make them make a mistake, if that makes any sense. I was waiting for either them to make a mistake, and if I could catch up to them and if I could box them in, I would. But not in like a jerk way, but trying to play the track a little bit more strategically.
We need to move from the boxing in method into the I'm actually beating you in the corner method. And I'm just going to put an explanation point on that for you, but we'll go back to that for a different time. So Ben, I'm going to move over to you now. All right. You find yourself in a lower tier class or a car or whatnot, and you know the top 10, but you're in the middle of a fierce battle to go ahead and say win a 1.8 to 2.2 liter class, or a class B, or a GTE or a GTD class when the LMPs are coming by. How do you let this pan out? Because now you're in the middle of your race, and now all of a sudden the front runners are coming up on you. How do you handle it?
There's got to be some give and take. I mean, you shouldn't have to just give up every endeavor you're involved in because faster cars are coming, and if they're that much faster, they're going to work their way around your whole battle. In a lot of cases, you may end up having to sacrifice a corner to get it done. But ultimately, it's like, in my experience, it's likely they're going to get it done all the way around the whole battle you're trying to have. And if you look up and kind of realize you're precluding that from happening, with what you're doing, I might give a little bit away. I mean, also it depends on how close to the end of the race you are, how close your situation is. Well, it's a gradient of factors depending on how patient or polite I'm going to be with lap traffic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And I actually kind of wish we hit those little marks on the tenths, because I had something to say about that. But anyways, that's a different topic, different time, different drink. Bill. So Bill.
Yes.
There you are.
So
in Hefe
at
pit race. Hold on.
Yes.
There is no control here.
You control
There-
nothing.
I've lost control.
This
I'm the captain
Padawan, there's no captain, there's no control. There's only the force, and this is the way. But
Ungovernable.
no.
This is not the
So
way.
I just same with Vicky, because how cognizant, I know you were cognizant over where you were at pit race, because we had a conversation outside on the tarmac about halfway through the day when I believe we just put Jamie into the Monrath car,
Mhm.
and you and I were talking out there, and you're like, oh my God, I think we might win C.
Yep.
So now put yourself in that position while you're running your car, and now your competition class C is battling you, and we're coming around zooming how we are. How did you react?
So I took the approach that so in general, the car that's passing should be in control of the pass and where the passes happen. However, I tried to communicate with them as best I could to either let them know that.
But you have a car.
I
You have
knew-
a car right next to you battling you for your position while this is all happening.
Right, but I let them know that I knew they were there, and then I would tapping my rear view mirror just so they knew that I had seen them. Like I'm not ignoring them. But what I would do is I knew that track, and most of the tracks I've done enough work where I know the track and I know which spots is going to have on the track for the pass is going to have the least impact on both of our laps. So I tried to do the community benefit of the least impact on my lap and the least impact on their lap. Sometimes, like if you're in the S's, if I try to let you by in the S's, it's going to kill my lap. So,
Oh God, yeah.
So you got to wait. But if it's going into 5 and 6, as long as you don't screw me going up that hill, I'll let you go by all day long. But don't kill me going up that hill. So I would control that. Certain cars, I would make sure the pass happened, and then other cars, I'd make them pass me on the hill. But I get to decide that. So that was what I tried to do. Ben, you had a question?
Hi. I have part of this conversation. I think needs to just be the inevitability of getting past, and having part of your knowledge of knowing who the fast guys are in the field is just seeing them coming and knowing that you're about to get past, no matter how much control we think we have or how much control they're trying to
no
exert.
control, but
Right.
I could control where.
No
Sure,
one controls
I'm not-
anything.
I'm
There's
not
no
saying this
control.
I'm not saying this is a response to what you just said, Bill. I'm not responding necessarily to what you just said, but I'm just saying in general, being cognizant of who those fast folks are relates to just the inevitability of them showing up and passing you. So you need to know who they are. Just like, oh, there's that car. I know they're going to pass me. They it's good to kind of get to learn what their cars are capable of and what their team is likely to sort of try to do. Did you take us to the bathroom, Alex?
It looks that way. But
Awesome.
anyway,
You're on mute. You are so on mute.
He put us in a place where we can't see much, but that's fine. I mean,
I'm
I
good
can
with-
tell we went to the happy place.
I'm good with the limited
No.
view. That's all I'm saying.
But you know, it's funny. I started thinking about this, Bill, just now when you were talking about, you know, if somebody's going to try to pass me the S's or whatever, you know, if somebody shows me a sliver of daylight in the S's at VIR and I need to get by, and I think I can do it with enough curb and how much room they have left me, or I can see they're about to leave me, I'll do it. So whether anybody feels like it's a great idea or not, if I can stick it through there and think nobody's going to touch me, and I'm probably only going to get a whiff of dirt off the inside, you know what I mean? Like so there's an inevitability of getting past, and you need to be ready for it. So part of this is being ready to get past, and it's nice to be able to indicate where you'd like somebody to go, and if they can do it, they'll work it out. But sometimes somebody's just going to go, and a good, huge thing to have in your skill set is just being ready to just jump with it and roll with it when that happens to you.
I agree. And I think what I was trying to get to was if I knew that, you know, let's say that I know number 1 and number 2 are right behind me and they are close, and I don't want to impact their race, and they're coming up on a spot where it's going to screw me just bad. I will purposely back off and let them pass me before we get to that.
Right.
To get the communal best time for everybody, as opposed
that makes
to,
sense.
you know, timing it poorly and it occurring in a spot where I don't want them to be there. And
that sounds like the complete and total opposite of what I understood Vicky to be doing, where she was saying,
Oh yeah.
She would just she would do some sort of hot box maneuver or like a race traffic Dutch oven where she would shut somebody down into her stinky little pace for a little while, and then they could go back. Is that what boxing out is? You would just stick a fast guy behind you. And
Did you notice the nice, sweet girl that she pretends to be? Yet she.
It wasn't. It wasn't the fast laps. It was people in my own class. If I could just slow, not them. No,
You're
not the top 10'ers.
She's a killer, yo.
You're using the fast guy as a pick on a slow guy.
Well, I'm using.
slow guys as
anything. She'll use anything.
Okay, I got
She's a killer, dude. She's got the killer instinct.
Dirty. That sounds awesome.
So
boxing people in traffic and Dutch oven.
No, it's terrible.
So
if I have an opportunity and then to follow the top 10s out, then yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's all about
And
me.
so
Me.
me.
Sorry.
Wait a second. We have a meeper moment here. So no, the whole go around and everything on this is because this topic is absolutely perfect for the ending at Thompson 2020. Do you guys remember what happened there?
This is like a rehash.
I was not allowed. I was not allowed to drive that weekend.
2020?
You could have. You made a choice.
No. I'm sorry. Was it 2020 or was it 2019? No, it was 2019. Was it 2019? What year is it? Who am I? Who are you? No, yeah, it was 2020. So last lap, and there's a prime video up there of the last lap at Thompson. And in it, there was a gaggle of cars, and out of the gaggle of 15 of the cars, 7 were in the top 12.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a moment, being very fully aware of what was around me. I knew first place was right next to me. I knew second and third was there. And I also knew I was in 11th place. And there was no way I was catching 10th. There was no way 12th place was catching me or whatever it was. But I noticed the car coming up and it was not my race. And I did whatever waving I can do and get him onto a side end. I opened up a lane. And what transpired after that? Well, you're going to have to watch the video, but that was being aware of what was around you. Yes, I got clipped, but
in the episode notes, by the way.
I will give you the link to the last lap. I have that.
Yes.
But yeah, I got clipped by the individual, which I was opening the lane to, and that was due to the fact that I just ran out of track and the angle was just wrong. But that's having the awareness for the top 10 and letting them run their race, which what transpired was probably the most exciting last lap race, part of the race that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, go on.
Thank you for returning from your bathroom trip to talk about a story that had nothing to do with our topic. But hey, no, I'm just kidding.
No, it did. Because
that's
knowing who's in the top 10, knowing what's around you, knowing what your surroundings are. And the fact of the matter is you need to know who's in them.
I know. I just like making fun of you, Alex, especially when you're wearing that hat. What are you wearing?
So this hat right here, this is from the Continental Tire Series.
Okay.
Going off the rails.
Yep. This was thrown out by Scott Pruitt at Lime Rock at the last American Le Mans Series race ever to happen at Lime Rock. And I think that was 2013 or 14. I forget which year it was.
So where that
is.
While we're fully off the rail here, Mr. Dawson, what do we have to do to get you to come to Lime Rock this year? Assuming we're post-plague.
When is it? What are we doing there?
August? Grid Life?
Oh, wow. God, go bananas to go. Yeah.
You have a place to stay up in Connecticut. You have a place to stay up in Connecticut. So we have you there.
Let's try to work on that. Lime Rock is seriously one of my biggest bucket list items in my whole life. Lime Rock and Spa, and I can hang it up pretty much.
Spa, Le Surf.
So it's a lot.
I don't care about that.
It's a
I
lot.
don't care about Le Mans unless a factory was paying me to be there. I couldn't care less.
No, I would totally do it in an independent. I totally would do it in an independent.
Well, I'm just saying, unless I had a reason to be there racing the car, but like I know, I would have to be a huge deal. But no, I mean that track doesn't interest me, but Spa seems like a really fun course. Anyway, we're completely off the rail.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's work on Grid Life. I would love to come do that with y'all if I can.
All right. Very well.
Mhm.
I know I'm doing
Yeah.
WRL at VIR, so I'm not sure when those dates are versus everything else. So I'm not sure how much stuff I can get away with in a closed period of time. But let's take a look at it. I would love to do that if I can.
I need to get into WRL, but anyways, go on.
All right. Very well. I hope this is an episode. I don't know.
Yeah, we did it.
Like.
Yep.
We did.
Yay!
You
Yay.
got buttons. You got little buttons you can press and edit non-sequiturs out.
Well, considering
Never
that
happens.
I'm starting to show Bill video editing, and when he starts asking questions, we're going to start going on, and we have videos coming.
This is
All
not
right.
one. No. Especially with that bathroom break that you just took. But anyway.
You
that's
guys
it.
saw nothing. All you saw were lights.
Yeah.
Well, great job. That's what I'm saying. I didn't get to see anything in there, dude.
I mean, if you guys wanted to see, that's not a problem. But
Nope.
It's just
Nope.
an extra fee. There's a fee.
We're
associated. I
off
get
the
it, I get
rails.
yeah, there's a little bit.
You can't even see the rails from here.
What rails?
All right. Very well. Thank you, everybody. Please let me out of
it.
here.
Hey, all right. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
All of
Definitely.
us.
Great
Good
night.
deal.
Great night.